All right, good to see you again. Here we are at progress, not perfection. So let's keep right on rolling with our little practice one that we started before. So had a couple hour break in here. I had a couple of appointments I had to go, got to go take care of. And so we did 3 different sky starts. Here's what my thought is. I'm gonna go ahead and put in water here in our bottom 3 panels, almost treating it as if it's one bottom of a painting. And then we'll do some different trees kind of over both of them. So that's kind of my thought there. Hope that's cool with you. Just for speed's sake and efficiency, I'm going to grab myself a clean 2-inch brush. I'm going to grab the phthalo blue, just like we used in the sky, and just patting it in on both sides of the brush, get a good even distribution, and this will help do this very quickly and really get us set up. So to do water, if we're doing still water, it's always going to be horizontal to the horizon. So when you do this, start outside the canvas, pick one side, outside on the other. But look how I've got the brush. So I'm holding it vertically, holding it like a pencil, and just pull from the outside in. It's totally fine to do this a couple of times, let these horizontal strokes overlap each other, and look what's happening to the amount of paint going on the canvas as we get up here. If this line's our horizon today, so be it. But again, the brush is just trading paint. So it's putting blue down, picking white up. Now, we only used it really from one side of the brush because I was pulling the same direction, just like this, every time. And we'll do this a second and maybe even a third time because I want this to come further in here, cross over into our middle area. I just wanted to be real careful and not be pulling in, boogering up my tape there. I'll leave a little area clear, so I have to use all the one side of the brush. So I'm going to turn over. All I've done is turn my hand this way, and now I can use the paint on the other side of the brush. Same thing. You can go over, let these strokes overlap, but pull them in as straight as you can. Straight as you can. It's all right if they've got a little motion to them. Nothing wrong with that. Oftentimes, water in a landscape like this, you can turn the brush the other way. Now I've got it horizontal, just pulling it in straighter, letting me blend out a little bit of that. If you want to, you can even pick up some of our black just to mix in a little bit darker color. You want some darkness, dark streaks in the water. That looks pretty cool sometimes. Let me just grab a little bit of black. Little bit of black, add a little more blue. So we got black and blue, or blue and black. B and B. Tapped it in evenly, and let's just pull some in down here. Ooh, look at that. Isn't that nice? Again, not much pressure here. Just being deliberate with my stroke. Leaving that area open in the middle. And now we're going to blend this all the way out. All right, so let's wipe out any extra paint we've got there. One more blending pass, but what we do when we blend, we go from light to dark. And what did you see me just do? I started down here in the dark. So got excited, got ahead of myself. That's okay. Stop where you're at and just go the way you meant to go. Seldom is it ever too late to make a correction. Simple course correction. So pulling from the outside in, and now let's go all the way across and get busy with some trees. All the way across. You can let some of that blue drift into your middle, but leave that lighter value right down there, down here, because that'll just look like shimmering light. And if we do any reflection, that'll be just a great area for it. Let me step back, take a look at it. Most paintings are viewed from at least 6 feet away. My arms aren't that long, so I got to step back and look at this from a better distance. Let me peek through the old camera eye there. Okay, doing all right there. So now that we got some water in there, what kind of trees do you want to do? What kind of trees shall we do? Well, let's pick up our big fan brush. Maybe we'll just drop in some let's just drop in some evergreen trees that maybe are way, way, way off in the distance there. Maybe we'll have some bigger ones going over here. And let's see, let's add ourselves another color. How about we do some Prussian blue? I like the way those trees turned out in our earlier practice videos, and we used Prussian blue there. So get myself a good old gob of Prussian blue out of the tube. Let's load up the brush really good. Pull that fan brush. Be gentle with your fan brush though. Wiggle it. Don't jab the tips down in the brush. Pull it through it. Let me show you how I've got that loaded. So I've got that loaded good and deep, both sides of the brush. And if you look right down the edge of the brush, it pulls those bristles together and looks like just the sharp edge of a knife. So where do we want to put some distant footy hills first? Maybe they're way back over here. So let's just tap and crash. Tap and crash. Just using the brush vertically, not sliding. Just pushing and letting those bristles bend. Now as it gets closer to us, let's make them get a little bigger. So we'll just let more of the brush hit. Be careful for lots of repetition here. You see I get a little bit rhythmic and it starts looking all the same. The cool thing about this is we'll blend some of these out just by tapping over them a little bit, kind of filling in any areas that we want to have a little more forest look to. Reload with paint, and then just, you can fill in some of those places. Leave these variations in the strength of the paint though. I love that because it just looks like another layer of trees happening there for us. So let's go to about there. Let's give ourselves some good underneath here. Since we're going across our tape, we'll treat this like water, and then we'll do something else with it. That's fine. The big 2-inch brush is what I've got handy, so let's make this a little bit of reflection. So just pull down a little further if it's closer to you. Go over that again, but pull straight down is the key, and then just go across, make it look watery. Oh, don't you love that? Isn't that cool every time? So now then, let's do a little bit even closer tree to us as we're getting to the side of our, maybe this is coming at us this way. So let's just make a bigger tree. We'll put a big old tree right here, give ourselves that center line to follow. Don't really need it, but I do like having the center line to follow. Just what you saw me do there was tap. Don't just pull straight in, because you just don't, I've not seen that look or work for people. So now just start with the corner of the brush, push and let it bend. Go back and forth across your middle trunk there, but most importantly, just keep going. Now, if that's where our water's going to be, we can turn it over and do the exact same thing into the water. You can give yourself your little cheater center line if you need to, but now just go the other way. One corner will typically work better for you than the other one. So, and you're not trying to mirror exactly. Your eyeball will fill that in for you. So don't worry about that. That's a good way to practice that. We're not done with that reflection yet. We'll come address it here in a second. I want to do a bigger tree that goes over our center line here. And then we're going to change the brush that we're using. So same thing. Just keep going. Excuse me. That's kind of gross. And we'll put this reflection in just a little bit further. Give ourselves that little bit of center line. Again, don't have to. Just don't rely on gimmicky things like that. I do think it's a good idea to use that in a demonstration. I think people like seeing the line that you're kind of going after, but I don't think it's good to get hooked on it. So do it without, and then go from there. Let's finish up the reflection on those couple of trees. Just wiping out the brush and the excess paint we got picked up there. And you want to talk about gentle. This was gentle. This is just barely want any of the bristles to touch. You just want to disturb it, not destroy it. See, I barely did that. Now let's just go across, go across, go across. Oh, isn't that good fun? Okay, let's go on to a different kind of tree. Maybe, let's use the 1-inch round foliage brush. let's go straight into some Midnight Black. Just tapping straight down, straight down, straight down. Mostly, I'm going to be using the top corner of this brush. I don't know if you can see it. There's a lot more paint on the one side of the brush than the other. And we're just going to start down in the bottom of where we want some trees and kind of build up. Be careful not to gobble up all our cool sky here, but let's just start tapping in some distant kind of tree shapes. Kind of gets up there towards our sky, our cool part of our sky there. Maybe this one, maybe there's a big old monster tree. That's pretty cool. We'll give them some little branchy things kind of like that. Who knows? Just let it go. Just let it happen. This is practice, remember? So this should be fun. Let's make it a little darker here. And we'll have one kind of come up this side and just cross back over here atop our evergreen tree we just did. So let's grab a script liner brush. Didn't bring any paint thinner over here. Excuse me for a second. I'm going to grab a little paint thinner. I want to thin down some of that black just so I can put some branchy things and tree trunks there in our big bushy tree that we just tapped in there. Ooh, time to clean out some of this paint thinner, that's for sure. Just turns into this green cloud of yuck when you get it all floating in there. So I've just added some paint thinner right down to where some of my liquid black is. And now just kind of give it some thought. We wouldn't see branches and things everywhere. And this is really just to give the indication. We'll put a few highlights on this and we'll cover a lot of this up. But what indications we would see. I've just turned this script liner brush through that black, midnight black paint. And now, if you got a little shake in your hand, if you had too much coffee this morning, that can really work for you. But just do some little, just think like a tree. Don't forget, you're not going to see all of this. So don't worry about it being all straight. And just give it a go. Just put a few little twigs and indications out here. Boy, it just really pays you dividends after you put on some highlights. Always look back at it and see if you like what you got. If you don't, you can change it. Just change your mind. Maybe we got just a few little tiny ones sticking up over here. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. There we go. Now, I did grab myself an oval brush, so what do you say we put some pinkish kind of highlights on there? So I'm going to dunk just into a smidge of liquid white. Just a little bit. Doesn't even take a lot, because these are way off. We don't want these way up on top of us. And I'm just going to tap into some of that alizarin crimson. Makes a beautiful pink color. And we'll see if we like what we get. So there's that beautiful pink. So let's just pick out what we think would be furthest away. We've done the back halves with the dark part we put in first. And then just lean in with the corner. And just do one little cluster of branches at a time. Reload as often as you need. So just anywhere maybe some light would hit. But just do one corner, one bit. Think like a tree. Don't just go in here haphazardly. If you watch Bob do this, boy, he does it with awesome speed. Well, he's done it a few times, and he'll even say it. Don't do these at random. Don't do these at random. Give it some thought, and then you just touch with the corner. Just touch with the corner and see if you like the shape that you're getting. Move over. You can switch to the other corner if you loaded it. We wouldn't be able to see all of this now. You think about what part of a tree you can see. You don't see the whole enchilada there, do you? Especially in a funky kind of light time of day. Let's just leave it like that. We'll move right on. Pick up a little more liquid white. Just vary our color a little bit here. Maybe we got a little sparkler sitting out there. Oh, that's nice. Other corner like this. Oh, maybe we'll turn our brush this way. Maybe we got some kind of little viney things growing. I don't know. I don't know what they are. We'll kind of darken our color a bit. Add a little more crimson to it. Just touch with that top corner. Ooh, that's kind of a fun color, huh? Maybe that's just kind of growing down there like that. I don't know if you can hear my brush hitting the canvas or not, but it probably sounds like I'm whopping it pretty good. That's only because my microphone is literally stuck to my shirt right here. So sometimes you'd hear that. You hear that on Bob's show too, but trust his words. Trust his words that he is not just pounding away randomly there. There is absolutely method to the madness. So we're just going to make some beautiful little closer up things. And maybe we get some grassy ones. So let's turn the brush this way and just give it a push. We'll see what we get. Do we like that? Yeah, okay. A little thick on the one side there for me. Let's flip over our brush. Kind of soften this just a bit. If you're gentle enough, you can barely touch some of these again. But just be careful that you're not completely polluting it out to Never Never Land. So do we want to pull some things straight down just to give ourselves the indication of some reflection? Sure. Need some of that. Just getting some color down here, pulling straight down. I'm going to soften that. I'm also going to put some dark in there. Just grab you can do this with any brush you want. So we got more dark on that side, got some dark on this side for this tree. You can do reflection with just about anything you want. Especially when you layer in a couple of colors like that. I just love how that works. So let's go really soft. And then let's go across. Well, this is turning into more practice than I'd even actually planned initially. That's good though. Practice is good for us. All right, what kind of trees shall we do now? How about we do a couple of cool trees with a knife? So I've got the big knife. So let's take some of our Prussian blue. That'll make a mighty fine tree stalk. And let's just give ourselves, I'm just kind of pulling around. I'm thinking about, what shape a tree is. And I like to have my hand upside down, as you can see. So I'll pick up another little roll of paint. And just, don't worry about it if you kind of get off track a little bit. Just, you can buzz right back by. Kind of thicken out the trunk in some places if you need to. Let's give this one an arm. We'll do some arms with the script liner brush for this as well. Maybe we'll put some leaves on it with one of the other brushes. Just wanted to show you a different tree. You say, Dan, I've never been to a blue forest and seen a blue tree. Oh, you sheltered poor thing. Well, if there's no blue trees in your forest, don't put no blue trees in your forest, but don't diss mine just because you ain't seen it. Blue's my favorite color, so I could do this whole thing in blue. Some days I do. Some days it's nothing but blue. That is another one of my favorite paintings to do, is the really cold winter time that's pretty much just blue and white. Little brown for a cabin here and there. Okay, so see how I don't have one flat color. I like how the paint broke for me on that. It makes it look like tree bark. I mean, it's pretty much that simple. Just using the knife. Could we take some white and put some highlight on there if we wanted to? Sure, but we haven't really done snow, and I don't really want that kind of bark on here. So I'm just going to wipe out the black I had in my script liner brush. I'm going to thin down a little bit of this blue. We didn't reflect that, did we? Let me do that first. Just put in some reflection here. And just roughly, you do not have to be exact on reflections, because by the time we pull down on this and make it look watery. You wouldn't see the whole thing. So go for it on reflections. Do not let trying to be exact steal your joy. Just keep going. And just get close. It's the idea. The brain's a wonderful thing for the viewer. To make it look like it's absolutely been that way. So now you can put a few more branches in if you want. Have them go every which way. Branches don't just grow off one side of the tree and they cross. Pretty soon you can't tell which branch belongs to which tree, and then it feels like you're near the woods. So just move quickly. If this paint is not coming off your brush well, you just need a little more paint thinner. Just need a few ideas down here. Nothing crazy. Again, we're going to probably put some highlights on this, so don't worry. Do not worry about this. It's just the indications of a few branches and twiggy things. I often don't go to this level of detail in a reflection, but seemed like a fun thing to do today. So, what if we use our fan brush now and plant some grassy things down here at the foots of these, just so they look like they're sitting on something. So I've just loaded my fan brush, just like I would have to do the evergreen trees, but now I'm just pushing up. Just pushing up. Now we can give ourselves a little bit of reflection here at the base of the trees. Gentle, I'm just going fast again. This is pretty gentle. Straight down is more important. So now let's take our 2-inch brush, make sure we don't have much, if any, paint on it. Soften these a bit. Let's do it very lightly, just to soften it, just to pull down, set that reflection in our water. And now let's go across. Make it look watery. If you don't like that, I don't think we'd be friends. I love reflection every time. You could go the other way. Maybe it looks like there's a little ripple on your water. Isn't that cool every time it works? Love it. Let's pull a little bit this way just for some consistency. There we go. See how you didn't have to be exact. All right, so we've practiced sky. We've done some, we've really done a lot. Let's see how our viewfinder's doing. Are we picking up a good bit of everything? Yeah, well enough. Well, let's do this. Let's put in a couple of monster trees, like crazy big trees, that'll end right here. Not sure we're going to pull one in from there. Let's definitely do one over here. And probably call that the end of this practice session. I want to pull the tape off at the end of this video, so remind me to do that. And yeah, we're going to be in good shape. So I'm going to just put in a monster tree up closer to us. Let's give ourselves our center line to follow. Maybe we'll come down to about there. And let's go for it. Go for it. Shall we do an up tree this time? Sure, why not? So we're just going to hold the brush, push in. Don't chase the shape of these branches. Push the brush up and it will do it for you. Now I'm running out of paint, so I'm going to flip over. Just now that I'm getting further down the tree, I'm just pushing deeper in. I'm not pushing hard. Don't mistake pushing deep with the brush as pushing hard. It's just not necessary. Get the load of the brush right with the paint. Good, lots and lots of paint. I've reloaded. I'm going to go up a little bit, come screaming right across this tape, and get right back to business. Just push. Deep pushes to get these branches to push up and just come off the fan brush. Look at that. Isn't that wonderful? Isn't that fantastic? let's go back. I got a little thin here in the middle near the tape. That's the only reason I'm going to add a few branches, just to beef up our middle of our strong tree here. Let's take our knife, grab a little bit of that blue, a little roll of paint. We're just going to put the indication of some tree trunk up the middle of this. You wouldn't see much. You'd see some though. And do we have anything we could really highlight with? Yeah, sure, why not? We'll grab a little liquid white. We'll just have it with a lighter blue. This will be pretty. This will help just set our tree much closer to us. Separate it from those ones in the back. Same way we put our branches the other side of the tree in, just let touch and push up. Let more of the brush hit. And it's a little bit counterintuitive. Look at the angle of this here. You have to do that or your branches are going to start sloping the opposite way you probably think that they would. But let's just put it down to right there. How about that? Okay, let's put in some ground stuff here. Maybe we'll use our big round brush again. Tap into some black. I'll grab some of that leftover phthalo blue we had from the beginning doing our sky and water. Just want something dark here. And I really just need something to highlight. So we'll put kind of some grassy looking things in like this. Kind of turn sideways. We just need some dark color here. I'm being careful not to slide, but you can see those colors mixing like crazy with that liquid white. That's fine. That's fine. Let's give ourselves some more dark here. And maybe this just comes down to about right here. And then maybe we'll have it come in from the other side. Again, I'm just kind of covering up our water area, closing in these bottom corners, and giving us something to highlight. And maybe we'll thin down some more of that pink. That was fun. Kind of a crazy color combo. That's all right. Crazy color combos are fun too. Maybe you'd use a color like this and you wind up loving it so much that that's the way you leave it. Well, you could do that if you've got it laid out the way you want. Let's get a little darker on the other side. So I'll grab some of that Prussian blue, just about out of black here. And let's just, I just don't want to kill all of that cool reflection of our big tree there. But we do need some highlight now that we've put something over that, don't we? Just need to darken this up some. There it goes. There we go. So now let's get crazy with our oval brush. Going into that liquid white, going into some pink again. Let's just pick out what's furthest away and give ourselves a little test of what we've got here. Let's kind of pick out some cool tops of flowers perhaps. Flip over, use the other side of the brush. Got a little different flavor color there. That's kind of cool. Now I'm picking up blue underneath. I've got crimson and white on the brush. So I may wind up with some pretty purple. That's fine. Don't slide here. You can give it a little pull down towards where you're going to have it rooted in. That works well. We can also load this brush by tapping and pushing into it to give ourselves some kind of grassy highlights. Maybe we've got some kind of grassy, bushy things. I don't know what they are, but just follow whatever lay of the land you've got there. Let this kind of roll. Looks kind of good, kind of coming downhill at us. Maybe it comes right down over here. I don't know. But that's going to be a good way to close out. Whoops, went a little further down than I meant to. Let's get a little more color. Well, heck, let's just grab some blue and see what kind of pretty purple we can make real quick. A little more liquid white. There it goes. Beautiful. Let's just sneak that in and see how it looks. Oh, I don't know if you'll be able to see that on camera, but those look so nice. Those look like those little, I don't know if they're really called bluebells, but I was a little kid and lived in a little English village. They had those, they looked literally like a bell. I don't know why you wouldn't call them a bluebell then. Maybe they did. And what do we got here? Maybe we got some kind of cool looking, a little bit taller flowery things. I don't know, these aren't going to catch as much light over here. But just give them some shape and character. Don't give the same. See, I slid a little bit there. Did you see that? That's what practice is all about. And maybe we just have another little lead with the corner of that brush. And then just let it go with the lay of your land. Now let's take a quick step back. Maybe we need just a few little, just a little something to give us some interest over here. All I did was grab my script liner brush, went right back into that blue and paint thinner mix that I've had doing the branches now. And maybe you don't have little weedy kind of things down in your painting. That's all right. You do what makes you happy on your painting. You do not have to do them like I am. Absolutely. We'll just kind of put a few things here and there. I just like it because it breaks up the line. Helps set those other side of the water items even further back. You don't have to. Totally up to you. Let's peel the tape, see what we get, and call an end to this video. Sorry it's a little longer than I meant. It's a half hour, so I'm going to grab the tape at the top. Try and do this in one pass if you can, because you're going to be covered in paint on your fingers because that tape is so covered. So let's pull it off like that. Looks pretty good. Had a little bleed through on some of the liquid white there. That's okay. I got pretty aggressive with it. If you remember that first video, it was kind of slinging everywhere. And there we go. Kind of an eclectic mix-up of all kinds of crazies. Oh, I did forget to put any branches on that, didn't I? Well, what can we do about that? Let's take our purpley color we were starting to make, and we'll just kind of put in a few. We don't have really anything dark underneath, so these aren't going to be as ideal as perhaps they could be, but and I just changed the flavor of the color there just so we'd get a little separation, a little difference in these trees. That's all I was doing there. So let's just leave it like that. That'll be fun. Let's sign this as practice number 3. And I will see you on the next one. Thanks for hanging with me if you stayed this long. Let's just do this one right down here. Doing D. W. That's me. And we'll call this. Oh, it only liquid white there. That's why this is sucking up so much paint. I was like, why is this kicking my butt? Practice number 3. There we go. Let's see what it looks like through the old camera bobber. There you go. We'll see you next time on Progress, Not Perfection. Have fun with practice. Show me what you do.